Whatever the nature of the writing activity that you need to complete, combining these three elements will make your writing goals more specific, manageable, and ultimately effective. The first element of an effective writing goal will be very familiar, and it's the one that I see used the most often, and that is time. So an example of a time-based goal would be saying, today I am going to write between 3 and 5. Or tomorrow I will spend 3 hours working on my writing. This is a decent start to a writing mini goal, but it's not the full picture. The first way that we can make our time-based element of our goal a bit more manageable is to think in terms of Pomodoro cycles. So I'll link a Pomodoro timer in the video description. But if you haven't heard of this concept, the idea of Pomodoro cycles is that one Pomodoro cycle is 25 minutes of work and then a 5-minute break. If you were working for 2 hours, say, you might instead think of that as 4 Pomodoro cycles. 25 work, 5 break, 25 work, 5 break, 25 work, 5 break, 25 work, you're done. It's a small thing, but actually we're not able to maintain focus and work at our utmost levels of productivity for 2 hours without break. Think in terms of small blocks of time instead of really large chunks of time. That's going to make your writing goal more manageable. Element 2 that we can add to a writing goal has to do with quantity or length. This is where I would layer on and say not just I'm going to work on my writing for 4 Pomodoro cycles, but during those 4 Pomodoro cycles, I'm going to aim to rough draft 500 words. Or during those 4 Pomodoro cycles, I am going to try to edit 3 paragraphs. Or during those Pomodoro cycles, I will try to read and annotate 3 scholarly articles. So you can see what I'm doing there is I am quantifying. There is some length, whether that's a word count, paragraph count, sentence count, whether it's a number of articles that I want to read and produce notes on. It's something that I can measure. This leads us to the third and final element for an effective writing goal, and this is the one I see almost no writers use, but it's arguably the best thing you can be doing to keep yourself on track. And that is to add some measure of content or move. So, between 3 and 5, I will do 4 Pomodoro cycles, and I will try to rough draft 3 paragraphs that synthesize scholarly views on inclusive nursing practices. Or I will spend 2 hours and I will annotate 3 articles focusing on finding definitions of political system XYZ. So what I'm doing there is I'm actually getting a bit more specific about the subject matter or material that I'm going to be working with and the move that I'll make with it. So by move, I mean those words like synthesize, critique, reflect, analyze. So it's what I'm actually going to do as a writer. This is an important thing because if we just sit down and we say to ourselves, I'm going to work on my literature review for 3 hours, where do I start? What does that mean? What part of the literature review? Whereas if you take the time to define more clearly what your goal is for the writing, that you want to critique a particular concept, that you want to summarize a certain theorist's ideas, that you want to compare and contrast 2 different methods for approaching a problem. If you set that up for yourself, you have a framework to build off of. You have a jumping off point, essentially.